diving into something pretty cool today.
Yeah.
Something that I think a lot of you out there are going to be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about learning English.
Yeah.
And some new approaches to it.
Right. Yeah.
And, I think a lot of folks listening, they want to learn English. They want to,
of course,
get all the opportunities that come with that.
Yeah.
But maybe they're a little intimidated, right?
Yeah. It's a big...
It'd be a little daunting.
Yeah, daunting. It's like, where do I even start?
Exactly.
There's so many words. There's so much grammar and, different accents to learn and everything. Well, we found this really interesting source that has this really fascinating approach.
It is fascinating.
And I think it's going to get people pretty excited.
I think so, too.
So basically, the core idea
Okay.
is that you can get really far with your English by listening to podcasts.
Just podcasts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just podcasts, and that's it. For an hour a day?
An hour a day.
Yeah.
An hour a day.
So it sounds almost too simple, right?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Right, really.
But there's actually quite a bit of science backing this up.
Yeah.
And the source goes into it really well.
Okay, well, I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Okay, so think about it this way.
Okay.
When we were kids, how did we learn our first language?
Oh, that's a good point.
We were just surrounded by it constantly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Our parents, our siblings, everyone around us was speaking.
Immersion.
Immersion, exactly.
Yeah.
And our brains just kind of absorbed it.
Yeah, you pick it up.
All the sounds, the rhythms, the grammar, everything, right?
Yeah, and you don't even realize you're doing it.
Exactly.
You're just a kid,
Yeah, you're just playing and listening, and somehow you start speaking.
Yeah.
So this idea with the podcast is kind of tapping into that same natural learning process.
I see. So you're sort of tripping your brain.
In a way,
yeah.
Into thinking it's back in that immersive environment.
Exactly.
Even though you're just listening to a podcast, right?
Right. And even if it's just for an hour a day.
Okay.
It's still creating that consistent exposure.
That makes sense. But I guess the question that pops into my mind is isn't listening as by kind of a passive activity?
That's what we tend to think.
Yeah.
But the source actually argues that's not really the case.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to language.
Okay.
They say that our brains are much more active during listening than we realize.
So I'm sitting there, on the train listening to my podcast.
Right.
And my brain is actually working out.
It's working.
The grammar and the vocabulary.
It's picking up on patterns.
Yeah.
It's starting to anticipate what's going to come next.
Wow.
It's even trying to mimic the pronunciation.
So it's
all without you consciously thinking about it.
It's like a workout.
It is. It's a brain workout.
But for my English.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's not just osmosis
or
something like that.
That's just absorption.
Yeah.
It's actually active engagement.
So does the source get into the specifics of how that works?
It does, yeah.
How is my brain...
They talk about how our brains are constantly making predictions. When we're listening to someone speak, we're always trying to guess.
Oh, interesting.
What they're going to say next.
Yeah.
And that's especially true with language.
Yeah.
Our brains are trying to figure out the structure of the sentences.
Yeah.
They're analyzing the grammar, the word order.
And is that how we start to internalize it or something?
Exactly, because we're constantly making these predictions and then comparing them to what we actually hear.
So it's like trial and error for your brain.
In a way, yeah.
Cool.
And the source also talks about how we unconsciously mimic the speaker's intonation.
Okay.
So the rise and fall of their voice.
The music of the language.
Exactly, the music of the language.
So I'm absorbing that without even realizing it.
You are. You're picking up on all those subtle cues. And that's how we start to develop a more natural sounding accent.
Okay. This is all very cool.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Sure.
First of all, finding an extra hour in the day.
Right.
That's not always easy.
Oh, I know.
And then second of all, listening to podcasts every day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that get kind of boring?
I can see how you might think that.
Yeah, I love podcasts.
Yeah.
But every single day.
Right.
For an hour.
Well, the source addresses that too.
Okay, good.
They emphasize the importance of choosing podcasts that you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
If you're forcing yourself to listen to something that you find boring.
Right.
It's not going to be very effective.
Yeah, you're going to tune out.
You're going to tune out.
Yeah.
So they suggest finding podcasts that align with your interests.
So if I'm into true crime, I should find a true crime podcast in English.
Exactly. Or if you're into comedy or science or history or whatever.
Or learning how to, fix my car.
Right.
There's a podcast for that?
There's a podcast for everything.
Yeah, okay.
So the key is to find something that you genuinely enjoy listening to.
So you're actually looking forward to that hour.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So I'm sold on the idea.
Okay.
I want to try this.
Okay.
But like, practically speaking, how do I actually make this a habit?
The source has some really good tips for that, too.
Okay, lay it on me.
First, they say you need to find a time slot
that
fits into your daily routine.
Like a consistent time slot.
Consistent, yeah. So maybe it's during your morning commute. Maybe it's while you're working out at the gym. Maybe it's while you're cooking dinner or doing chores around the house.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you, right?
Yeah, okay.
The key is to make it a regular part of your day.
Okay, so find the time slot.
Find the time slot.
And then what?
And then commit to it.
Commit to it.
Even if it's just for a short period at first.
Okay, so some days it might just be like 15 minutes. Other days it might be the full hour.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the important thing is to be consistent.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Because the source emphasizes that repetition is crucial.
Makes sense.
For language learning.
The more you hear it, the more you're going to learn it.
The more it's going to sink in.
Okay, this all makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I love how it's like, it's so simple.
It is simple.
But it's like backed by...
By science.
Yeah, by science. Yeah. It's not just like some random...
Exactly. It's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
But it's a very effective approach.
Yeah, I think we often overcomplicate
I think so, too.
language learning.
We get bogged down in the grammar rules and the textbooks, and we forget about the natural way that we learn.
The joy of language.
Exactly. And what's exciting about this approach is that it's not just about learning the rules.
Yeah.
It's about experiencing the language.
Yeah.
It's about connecting with the culture.
It's about opening up a whole world, really.
A whole world of possibilities, new people to talk to, new ideas to explore, new places to visit.
It's kind of amazing to think that...
It is amazing.
Just 1 hour a day could do all that.
Yeah, 1 hour a day can make a huge difference.
So to wrap things up,
I
guess the big question that the source leaves us with is, what could you achieve if you dedicated just 1 hour a day to English?
What doors could open for you?
Exactly.
What new possibilities could you discover? I think that's a great question for everyone to consider.
Yeah, it's something to think about.
It is.
For sure.
And who knows? Maybe you'll surprise yourself.
Yeah.
With what you can accomplish.
I think you will.
I think so, too.
All right, that's our deep dive for today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.